Hello again, everybody. Thanks for coming back. The Bearded Prepper here. I've noticed a distinct trend, I guess, in American commerce as I'm observing, sales. I have access to some sales and, consumer spending. And, I follow the economy pretty closely, mostly just because it impacts me. And frankly, if you can discern the true state of the economy, you can kind of decide what you need to do as far as your preps, being prepared. Should I still be putting money in A, or should I convert to B because I'm running out of time? Things of that nature. So somewhere over the last, I would say 7 or 8 months. It's not to say that the economy was great before, because we've all been kind of going in this nosedive, if you will, in my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of people more learned than me out there. But somewhere about late summer, early last fall, I noticed big ticket items started kind of falling off. People weren't spending as much, and there was still some movement in the market, but some of those, what you would consider, I wouldn't really say essentials, maybe essentials, but maybe higher end essentials, like maybe higher end firearms, new cars, when you could find them because of this chip shortage, things of that nature. They started kind of falling off. And then, following that, I also started noting that, maybe items in the mid-range, and now even things like apparel and, lower end items that maybe could be sacrificed are starting to fall off. As a matter of fact, having a connection in the firearms industry myself, talking to a lot of dealers out there, a lot of gun shops out there across the country here in the U.S., they all had a terrible Christmas. As a matter of fact, the ones that I talked to said that they don't remember a year when the Christmas rush, that pre-Christmas spending in their shop, just didn't happen. They said, actually, consistently, I'm hearing back from most people, the main thing that was selling was lower end, mid to lower end firearms, or handguns, excuse me, that weren't as expensive, and a lot of people just wanted to have something in their house. A lot of people are scared. I know from experience myself, I've seen people that were previously even anti-gun come in and start taking self-defense and shooting lessons and buying their first firearms. People are looking around and seeing what's going on in the area around them and realizing, I don't like the way this is headed. So, back on topic, back away from firearm sales. Let's just focus on just spending and the economy in general. So I started digging into this a little bit deeper, and I realized that what I was seeing was accurate, and it wasn't unique to the industries that I monitor. It was also happening in other industries as well. Of course, the official U.S. inflation rate, and even that somewhat give or take around the world, depending on each country's economy. They were saying that we ended 2022 around 9.1% is what I'm seeing, mostly from the the official government narrative, and also from some of the experts that in the mainstream media, stuff like that, for what that's worth. However, when they measure the U.S. inflation, they're excluding essentials like food. It's kind of important. Also energy and things of that nature. Consider most people probably aren't heating with wood, are using some kind of central forced air type system, or propane gas system, coal, oil, what have you. Energy is kind of important as well, especially in the winter months. So I've always found it curious that they exclude two of the main key, I guess, if you will, factors that you need to to sustain life, which is, you know, in a modern society, which is food and energy that you're not producing yourself, that you're purchasing from someone else. So that being what it is, taking a deeper look at, you know, the cost increase in food and energy. I mean, hey, look, I think everybody can judge for themselves based off of their electric bill, even trying to cut back, what that's like. And if, as far as food, you know what, I'll just use the good old egg example because it just proves the point. Eggs went from less than $1 a dozen to, at the cheapest, I would say $4 to $6 on average at the cheapest that I'm seeing in my area in Central Virginia. Some places $8 plus. So just seeing the increase in that food staple, if you will, says it all. You know, the official narrative says food didn't increase that much. Maybe food only increased by 12%. But I can tell you, you know, based off of my experience, it was much more than that. I'm seeing some things that have quadrupled or more in price. I'm seeing some things that are, you know, 20, 30% higher. So, you know, everybody always likes to spend things the way they want it. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying not to spin this story to, you know, to prove my point of prepping. But as I dug in, you know, I got a little more alarmed, and I felt like I really just kind of had to talk about this to everyone, at least just to maybe get you doing your own research, maybe to get your wheels turning. If you're kind of on that verge and not really focused on prepping, maybe this will push you over the edge, because, you know, we finished the year with inflation, period. I don't care who's spinning the narrative. We had significant inflation, more so even by the official government narrative, worse than it has been in the last 40 years. So that's there. I mean, we've proven that. For those like me that are connected to the retail industry or the consumer industries, you know, we're seeing the consumer spending kind of tanking off. But if you look at the overall consumer spend, it went up. If we had a 2% increase in consumer spending, yet we also had significant inflation, then I think that's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah, it costs more to live. It costs more to eat. It costs more to heat and cool our homes. It costs more to drive our vehicles. So yeah, we're going to have an increase in spending. So anyone that wants to just tout, oh, you know, consumer spending strong, we had an increase this year over last year. Well, where was it going? Because from where I'm sitting, it was going to inflation. It was going to paying more for some of the items that we feel like are essential or that we have to have. So doesn't really mean we're in a better position. Just because spending went up doesn't mean you're in a great place. You look at savings. You know, savings have tanked in the U.S. Even around the world, savings have gone down. So yeah, we have slightly more consumer spending. We have significant inflation, and we also have significant decrease in household savings. That's not a great recipe, if you ask me. That does not equal a strong economy. But what's worse than that is the more recent statistics that came out on credit. It's quite alarming. We had a significant decrease in household savings, and we had a significant increase in credit debt as well. Just in the U.S., the estimate that just recently came out is that we were over $1 trillion, trillion with a T, in credit card debt. Doesn't equal a strong economy, folks. A lot of people are predicting that 2023 is going to be the year that we really, where the rubber meets the road, if you will. People's savings have exhausted. You know, maybe they reached their credit limit. Inflation continues. Availability of products maybe decreases. We're a year into the war with Russia and Ukraine now, which is, I mean, no doubt, no one can deny that has impacted our world food supply. I mean, just based off of the amount of grains and foods that come out of Ukraine and Russia alone. I mean, it's a huge percentage pre-war to what we're facing now. So, we're going to see some of those excess stores starting to run out as well. Beyond that, the fact that so much of our, at least here in America, and I would probably suspect mostly around the world, so much of the everyday products have transitioned to Chinese production. If we run into issues with them, if we run into conflict, whatever that may look like with China, and those supplies get cut off, then you're going to see the cost of things skyrocket even more if you can get those kind of things. Fortunately, most things that we need, if you're prepared, you can store up, you can grow, you can provide a lot of that for yourself if you prepare now. I don't necessarily know that saving up money is really going to be the wisest investment at this point. I mean, certainly if you're able to, get your investments while they're on sale. It's a great option. But if you're not prepared, and if money suddenly devalues or is not worth as much, you're going to be left holding a bunch of worthless currency. So make sure you're at least thinking ahead and saying, okay, well, will I be able to feed myself, my family? Will we have access to water? Will we have access to safe shelter, to warmth, to take care of ourselves, those basic needs? I can't stress enough the importance of making sure you're at least minimally prepared, for you and your family to get by, to have something that you can fall back on if suddenly things change. I wouldn't trust what you're being told through the media. I wouldn't trust what the people that are, feeding you the supplies you need and selling you the inflated goods that you need. I wouldn't necessarily trust their opinion or their willingness to tell you the complete truth. You need to use your common sense. That's what I'm all about. Using common sense approaches to being prepared. It doesn't matter if it's a natural disaster, if it's a economic collapse or downturn, severe inflation. God forbid if we end up in conflict with someone in our country or with our allies around the world. Be prepared now. Don't wait until you're already behind the eight ball. Don't wait until the need's already there. Make sure you're prepared in advance. I mean, that's really what being a prepper is all about. Yeah, I mean, preppers are like anyone else. You have people that are extremely radical in it, and they're going to go off the deep end, and they're going to have a hole hollowed out in the side of a hill where they're going to crawl in and stay in that bunker. If things get tough, you have people that are going to be focused on, being prepared for them and their family, networking with other preppers, continuing society, maybe in a different way, supporting people where you can. And then you have people that are just going to not be prepared at all and hope someone's going to take care of them. So you have the full array of people, and you have some people that, maybe they're a bit eccentric. You have some that just want to use common sense and be normal. Just because you're trying to make sure you're prepared doesn't mean you're a lunatic. Which unfortunately is where, people with a prepper mentality often get labeled as being a lunatic. So if I am a lunatic, then I don't know it. So I'm still okay, right? No, just kidding. Just be prepared, folks. I hope that this conversation about, or this dialogue about, the economy and kind of how people are trying to pull this sheet and pull that sheet to make it look like it fits their narrative or fits their agenda, kind of opens your eyes a little bit, makes you start doing your own research and realizing that just because, spending maybe increased this year doesn't necessarily mean that we have a strong economy. And just because, the mass media communication out there, or the mainstream media is telling you that, oh yeah, the economy's improving, inflation's getting better, it's leveling off, doesn't mean that things are in a good position. I think it's like a Jenga tower. like a house of cards, just sitting there balanced, just waiting for somebody to come and move the right piece for the whole thing to start coming down. It doesn't feel stable to me. So I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to do my best to take care of my family and those that I love and care about. I encourage you to do the same. Until next time, I encourage you to seek the wisdom of our Lord and Savior. Be prepared. God bless. I'm the Bearded Prepper, signing off.